You are on Tips and Streams with your host, Coca.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to Tips and Streams. I'm Kokan, and I hope you're doing well and feeling locked in wherever you're listening from. All right, let's get to the daily picks. I've got 4 NBA matchups on the card today, so buckle up. We're diving straight into the action. The first prediction for today's NBA games is for the game between the Toronto Raptors and Orlando Magic. I'm looking at Raptors Magic tonight in Orlando, and I'll be honest, both teams had me completely twisted after their last results. Toronto came in feeling like they were rolling, then got smacked at home by New York, 119-92. Orlando looked like they were stuck in the mud for a stretch, and then they suddenly popped the hood and beat Miami 133-124 on the road. That kind of swing usually tells me one thing: don't overreact to one night. Lock in on each team's identity and how the matchup is likely to breathe. For Orlando, that win in Miami was the cleanest version of what they're trying to be. Paolo Banchero set the tone with 31 points and 12 boards, and that's the blueprint when the game tightens up. They also got real scoring punch from Desmond Bane and Anthony Black, which matters because Orlando's biggest season-long issue has been stringing together reliable offense. Jamal Mosley's teams typically defend at a high level, but when the shot-making dries up, they can look stuck in quicksand. The encouraging part is that with Jalen Suggs back, I trust Orlando's point-of-attack pressure a lot more, and that changes the feel of their defense from solid to annoying for 48 minutes. The big question is Franz Wagner. I'm seeing him in that day-to-day zone, and if he plays, Orlando's spacing and secondary creation get a major boost. If he doesn't, it forces Banchero to carry more of the decision-making, and Toronto can load up harder. Either way, Orlando at home with their defensive foundation feels like a team that can control the rhythm if they take care of the ball. Now Toronto. The record says they've been one of the best stories in the East, and it's not smoke. They've built this run on defense, and they play the right way offensively with heavy ball movement. When you're assisting on nearly 7 out of 10 made shots, that usually means the offense is connected and unselfish. The flip side is also real. When you don't have a bunch of pure bucket getters, you can hit those ugly stretches where everything turns into tough looks late in the clock. That Knicks game is the warning label, and even in that loss, Brandon Ingram still got to 27, which shows where their scoring gravity comes from when the flow breaks. So, here's how I'm handicapping it. Toronto's defense is going to travel, but their offense is the part I don't fully trust in a grinder, especially against a locked-in Orlando defense that gets sharper with Suggs on the floor. The first meeting was a 1-point game, and that tracks for me again. Physical possessions, half-court chess, and every run answered with a timeout and a tougher shot diet. I'm not chasing a blowout script. I'm betting on Orlando's home floor, their defensive ceiling, and the idea that they can win the possession battle, just enough to squeeze it out late. Here, I'm going to take the Magic to win the game against the Raptors in Orlando. Today's second prediction is for the game between the Memphis Grizzlies and New Orleans Pelicans. Tonight, I'm looking at this matchup like a classic form meets situation spot, and I'm leaning into what my eyes and the numbers are saying. Memphis has been stuck in the mud, while New Orleans is quietly starting to look like a team that's figured out how to compete again. Let me start with the vibe around the Pelicans. When Herbert Jones got back, the defensive tone changed, and it shows up in the results. New Orleans is 27-22 against the spread on the season, and they've covered 4 of their last 5. That's not noise to me. That's a team getting back to playing with structure, getting stops, and turning that into clean offense instead of playing random. The recent road stretch is exactly why I'm interested here. They went into Memphis and won by 6 as underdogs. They went into San Antonio and won outright by 9 as a much bigger underdog. Then they went to Oklahoma City Thunder and lost by 9 as a heavy underdog. which tells me they weren't just catching lightning for one night. They competed in 3 straight away games, and now they come home to Smoothie King Center with momentum that actually feels real. In that Thunder game, Zion Williamson put up 21 points and 11 rebounds, and Sadiq Bey chipped in 16 and 13. Even with a rough shooting night overall, they hung around until the third quarter swing decided it. What I like is the identity. This Pelicans team lives in the paint. They average 57.9 points in the paint per game, and the lowest share of their scoring comes from deep. That matters against a Memphis group that gives up a ton of opponent three-point attempts and is also sitting near the bottom of the league in field goal percentage. If New Orleans is getting downhill, crashing the glass, and forcing Memphis to play through a set defense, I know which side I trust. Now let's talk about Memphis. They've lost 11 of their last 14 overall, and they're on a 4-game skid. The offense has been the biggest red flag for me. They failed to score 100 points in their last 3 games, and the latest loss at home to the Charlotte Hornets wasn't even competitive early. Jaren Jackson Jr. dropped 26, but he didn't get enough help. And when a team is leaning that hard on one engine, the margin gets thin fast. The injury list also stacks the deck. New Orleans is without DeJounte Murray, but Memphis is missing Ja Morant, along with multiple rotation pieces. And that's a lot to overcome when you're already struggling to generate efficient offense. Yes, Memphis has won 2 of the 3 head-to-head meetings this season, but I care more about how the teams look right now, not how they looked months ago. So when I put it all together, I see New Orleans with a clearer identity, a healthier direction, and the more trustworthy recent tape. Memphis can fight, but I don't want to pay for a bounce back that hasn't shown up consistently. Here, my money is on the Pelicans to win the game against the Grizzlies. The third prediction for today is for the game between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Friday night in Denver, I'm looking at this matchup through one simple lens. The market is pricing the Nuggets like they're hanging on by a thread, and I don't see it that way. Yes, Denver is still waiting on Nikola Jokic, and losing Aaron Gordon for the next stretch is a real punch to the rotation. But what I've watched from this group lately is a team that's playing clean, composed basketball and squeezing value out of every possession. Even in this short-handed run, Denver has stacked wins and shown real late-game poise. Against Brooklyn last night, they jumped out early, handled the middle stretch when the game got tight, and closed with tough shot-making when it mattered. That's the part I trust. Jamal Murray has looked comfortable wearing the closer's jacket, and when a team can reliably create a bucket in isolation late, it keeps them inside numbers like this. Add in the shot-making they've gotten from Tim Hardaway, plus the energy minutes from Peyton Watson, and you've got enough scoring to survive stretches where the offense isn't perfect. Now, the Clippers are absolutely rolling. They've won 16 of their last 19, and over the last 10 games, they've been top tier on both ends, with a net rating that screams contender-level form. Kawhi Leonard playing like Kawhi changes everything, and James Harden has been driving the bus as a creator, with Ivica Zubac cleaning up the interior. I'm not downplaying any of that, but here's where I land. Stylistically, this Clippers team often plays in a way that keeps games close. They operate at a controlled pace. They don't rack up a ton of assists, and they prefer methodical half-court possessions. That can be great for winning, but it's not always great for laying points on the road in Denver, especially against a Nuggets team that's taking care of the ball. Over the last 10 games, Denver has been one of the league's best at avoiding turnovers, and that matters because it denies the Clippers easy runouts and keeps the scoreboard from swinging in quick bursts. There's also the matchup history in this building that I can't ignore. The Clippers have repeatedly struggled at Ball Arena against good Denver teams, and even when they're the better team on paper, this has often been a grind. Denver's rebounding has been a weakness, and that's a concern against Zubac, but the counterweight is their shot efficiency and disciplined possessions. If they can just be respectable on the glass and keep the turnovers down, they can turn this into a possession-by-possession fight. I also like that Denver has shown an ability to cover in these schedule spots, even with a rest disadvantage. It's not comfortable, but it's been real. And with the Clippers possibly managing bodies again, plus a couple of key names still not available for them, I'm not rushing to lay a big number. I'm taking the Nuggets to cover the 8-point spread at home in Denver. I'm not saying it's easy, but I see a tight, physical game where the Clippers may win, yet Denver hangs around the whole way and makes that spread feel too generous. Today's last prediction is for the game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and Phoenix Suns. I'm locked in on Cavaliers versus Suns in Phoenix, and this matchup is way trickier than the line makes it look. Cleveland is rolling, no doubt. They've won 5 straight, and that last win over the Lakers was a straight-up statement. The ball popped, the defense tightened the screws after halftime, and Donovan Mitchell did what elite scorers do, controlled the temperature of the game without forcing it. Even with that momentum, I'm not automatically running to the window with Cleveland in this spot, because the betting profile tells a different story. Here's the thing I can't ignore. Cleveland has not been a reliable team when the market puts them in the driver's seat. They've been excellent straight up as a favorite, but against the spread, it has been a problem all season. Too often they win the game but do not create enough separation. That matters tonight because Phoenix is playing with real edge, and they've been cashing tickets in the underdog role even when they do not win outright. Now let's talk about what Phoenix is doing right. Even without Devin Booker, this team has been finding points through balance and pace control. They just handled Detroit at home, and Dillon Brooks exploded, while Grayson Allen gave them clean offense that actually fit the flow of the game. What I like most is that Phoenix is not begging one guy to bail them out every possession. They've been more connected, they've been tougher, and defensively, they've been active in the passing lanes all season. They're near the top of the league in steals per game, and that is a big deal against a Cleveland team missing key pieces. And those injuries are not small footnotes. Cleveland is without Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, and Max Strus is also out. Garland's absence changes their rhythm because he's a true organizer who keeps the offense from getting sticky. Mobley being out hurts them on the back line because his mobility covers mistakes and helps them win the 2 feet in the paint battle. Meanwhile, Phoenix is also shorthanded with Booker out, and Jalen Green is not expected to play. So yes, both teams are missing talent, but I see Cleveland's missing pieces affecting structure more. The situational angle is the one people will point to. Phoenix is on the second night of back-to-back games, while Cleveland had a day off. That usually pushes bettors toward the rested team, but the trends around this matchup don't scream automatic Cleveland cover to me. Phoenix has been covering at a strong rate lately, and they've been especially valuable when catching points. Cleveland has also done well against Phoenix in recent meetings against the spread, but tonight feels like a different math problem because the Cavaliers are walking in without 2 core players who usually stabilize them. If this game gets tight late, I actually trust Phoenix's ability to muck it up, create extra possessions with steals, and win the effort plays in their own building. Cleveland can absolutely win the game, but I'm betting on the number, not the logo. My final pick for the game is the Suns to cover the 6-point spread against the Cavaliers in Phoenix.